Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Excerpts from an article by C.S. Lewis called, "If You Are God's Chosen, Never Reveal These Five Things."
Oh, wow.
Five
Things
things.
to never reveal.
Definitely makes you think, right?
Yeah.
What could those five things be?
I'm definitely curious
Yeah, me too.
to hear what C.S. Lewis has to say.
Yeah, and especially in today's world,
Right.
where everybody shares everything.
Exactly.
It's almost like the opposite. It's
Yeah.
like saying, be quiet, be strategic.
Yeah, so it's not just about never telling anybody anything right.
Right.
It's more about thinking carefully about what you share.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about the power of silence and choosing what to reveal.
Yeah, being intentional. Like, why are you sharing this thing? What's
Yeah.
the point?
Exactly.
So what's the first thing C.S. Lewis says we should maybe think twice about sharing?
Well, this one might surprise you.
Okay.
It's your future plans and dreams.
Really?
Yeah. But wait, I've always heard, put it out there. Shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah, I know. It seems counterintuitive.
Manifest it, all that.
Right.
Why would keeping my dreams a secret be better?
Because think about it, when you share a dream, you're opening it up to other people's energies,
Oh.
their opinions, their doubts,
Yeah, you're kind of giving away a piece of it.
Exactly.
Before it's even had time to solidify.
And C.S. Lewis uses a great example from the Bible to illustrate
Yes.
the story of Joseph,
Oh, yeah?
He told his brothers about his dreams of greatness.
Yeah.
And they were so jealous they ended up betraying him.
Wow. Yeah. So sometimes it's like you need to protect your dreams
Exactly.
from those negative energies.
It's like a little seed you're trying to grow. You
Oh,
don't want
I-
to expose it to the elements too early.
Okay, so maybe think twice before I do that big vision board party.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, got it.
Let those dreams take root first.
What's the next hush-hush topic on the list?
Family matter.
Ooh, family matters.
Yeah.
Everyone's got them right.
Yeah, everyone's got family stuff.
Why does C.S. Lewis think we should keep family matters private?
Well, because family is like this sacred space.
Okay.
And, conflicts happen in every family.
For sure.
But when you start airing those grievances publicly,
Right.
it can really damage those relationships.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It's like airing your dirty laundry
Yeah.
for everyone to see.
It never ends well.
Never. It can really erode trust.
Okay, so it's about protecting that family unit.
Yeah. It's recognizing those dynamics are complex.
Right.
And sometimes those things are best worked out
Yeah,
within the family circle.
yeah, within those boundaries.
He even uses the example of Noah's sons.
Oh, right.
2 sons covered their father's nakedness.
Yeah.
While the other one chose to expose him.
Right, it shows like who's really loyal,
Right.
who's really trying to protect the family.
Exactly. Discretion is key.
Okay, I'm starting to see this theme here.
Yeah.
It's like thoughtful discretion.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking before you speak.
Exactly.
Okay, this next one I'm actually really curious about.
Oh, okay.
First, victories.
Oh, interesting.
Why keep those quiet? Isn't celebrating success like a good thing?
It is, but the article suggests that there's a balance.
Okay.
Celebrating too early, particularly in the context of spiritual growth,
Hmm.
can attract what he calls spiritual resistance.
So it's not that we shouldn't celebrate our wins,
Right.
but maybe just being mindful of how and when we do it.
Yeah, think about it. When
Yeah.
you celebrate prematurely,
Yeah.
you might invite envy from others.
Okay.
Or even disrupt your own spiritual growth,
Hmm.
by fostering a sense of ego.
So it's almost like true success is cultivated internally first.
It's about approaching things with humility,
Yeah.
gratitude,
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these points are connected by
Yeah.
this idea of thoughtful discretion.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on C.S. Lewis's list?
This one's particularly relevant in today's world,
Ah.
I think. Wealth.
Wealth, okay.
And that applies whether we're talking about abundance or scarcity.
That's interesting because it seems like nowadays,
Yeah.
especially with social media,
Mhm.
everyone's always showing off what they have.
Right. It's like
Oh.
we're conditioned to flaunt it.
Yeah.
But C.S. Lewis cautions against that.
Okay.
Whether you have a lot or a little,
Yeah.
keeping your financial situation private can actually protect you
Protect you from what?
from unwanted attention,
Okay.
envy,
Yeah.
even potential harm.
So it's not about being ashamed of your finances,
No, not at all.
but it's more about recognizing
Yeah.
that it's a personal matter
Exactly.
that doesn't need to be broadcast to the world.
It's like that old saying, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Right.
Stay humble, stay grounded.
I like that.
He uses the example of King Hezekiah,
Okay.
who showed off all his wealth to Babylonian envoys.
Yeah.
And it attracted unwanted attention,
Oh.
ultimately leading to his downfall. That's a good point.
It's a reminder that sometimes discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah, especially when it comes to money.
For sure.
Okay, so I'm definitely seeing that C.S. Lewis is advocating for
Yeah.
a more mindful approach, a strategic silence that
Exactly.
serves a greater purpose.
Yeah.
What's the final thing on his list?
It's the most profound and personal one, I think.
Okay.
Spiritual encounters.
Spiritual encounters.
Yeah.
Spiritual encounters. Okay, that's interesting. What kind of experiences are we talking about here?
Those moments where you feel like you've had a glimpse behind the curtain, you know?
Okay.
Like
yeah.
a dream or a vision or
Yeah.
a sudden profound insight.
So not every spiritual aha moment is meant for social media.
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
Sharing those things with the wrong people or at the wrong time
Yeah.
can diminish their power.
It's almost like you need to let them integrate into your own life first.
Exactly. And C.S. Lewis actually points to figures like Paul and John from the Bible.
Who are told to keep certain revelations secret.
So it's like not everyone's ready for that kind of knowledge.
Right. Some truths require a certain level of spiritual maturity.
Okay, so this all goes back to that idea of discernment, knowing when to speak and when to stay silent.
It's a delicate balance.
It's like learning a whole new language,
It is.
the language of strategic silence.
Where what you don't say is just as important as what you do say.
I love that. It's like we're flipping the script
We are.
on this whole idea of put yourself out there,
Yeah, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is hold back.
be selective.
Let your actions speak louder than your words.
It makes me think about those people who just have this quiet confidence.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, they don't need to shout about their accomplishments.
Right.
They just radiate this sense of inner strength.
It's magnetic.
It is.
It draws people in.
And it's not about being aloof or mysterious.
No, it's about knowing your worth
Yeah.
and not needing constant external validation.
It's like they're saying, I know who I am and that's enough.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all really making me rethink my whole approach to sharing.
Yeah.
It's less about never telling anyone anything and more about being intentional.
Right. Asking yourself, why am I sharing this?
What's the purpose?
What impact will it have?
It's like building a muscle, right?
Yes. The discernment muscle.
At first, it might feel awkward to hold back,
Yeah.
but the more you practice,
The easier it gets.
and you might find that you have more mental and emotional space.
Absolutely.
You're not constantly depleting your energy,
You feel more grounded, more centered.
and your relationships might even deepen
How so?
because you're sharing from a more authentic place,
I love that. Sharing from intention.
not just impulse.
It's like reclaiming your power
Yeah.
by being more selective with what you put out into the world.
It's so easy to get caught up in that whirlwind of sharing,
I know, right? It's everywhere.
especially online.
Constant self-promotion.
But we always have a choice.
We do.
We can choose to create a different kind of space.
A space where you're not always performing. You
Yeah.
can just be
And maybe that's where the real magic happens,
the magic of creativity, of self-discovery.
of genuine connection.
Exactly. When we create that space for ourselves,
Yeah.
we're also creating space for others to connect with us more deeply.
It's like a ripple effect.
It is.
Our individual choices around silence
Mm-hmm.
can actually create a more mindful world.
A more intentional world.
So it's not just about us, it's about the collective.
Exactly. It's about shifting the energy of our interactions.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface of this idea.
There's so much more to explore.
It's not just about keeping secrets.
Right.
It's a whole way of being.
Way of approaching life with more awareness.
So as we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you'd offer to our listener?
I'd say embrace the power of silence.
Okay.
Not as a way to hide,
Yeah.
but as a source of strength, creativity, connect.
Experiment with it.
Yes. Notice what happens when you pause before you speak,
Mhm.
when you hold back before you share.
Allow yourself to just be present in the quiet moments.
You might be surprised by what you find.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the power of strategic silence.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed it and found it insightful.
And until next time,
Yeah.
may your silences be filled with meaning and purpose.
Yeah, like what could happen if we brought this idea of strategic silence into our creative work?
Oh, that's a fascinating thought.
Instead of always, looking for feedback or validation, what if we just let the work simmer for a while
Let it evolve organically, yeah.
and then share it when it feels truly ready?
I think that's how you tap into that authentic, creative energy.
You know, when you're not so worried about what other people think,
Exactly. It becomes more about the process itself.
and less about the outcome.
It's like you're giving the workspace to breathe,
Yeah.
to find its own shape.
I know I've been guilty of sharing ideas too soon,
Oh, yeah, me too.
and then they kind of fizzle out.
Because they weren't quite ready yet.
It's like you expose them to the elements too early.
Yeah, like a delicate seedling.
So it's about trusting that inner process.
Yeah.
Having faith that the work will reveal itself,
When the time is right.
which is hard, you know?
It is, especially in a world that's all about instant gratification.
Yeah, like everything's got to be fast, fast, fast.
But sometimes the best things take time.
Slow down, let it simmer.
And you might be surprised by what emerges.
This makes me think about relationships too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What if we brought that same intentionality to our interactions
That's a game changer.
instead of just constantly talking, talking, talking?
Allowing for those moments of silence
Yeah, those pauses.
where you can really listen.
Listen with your heart.
Exactly. Create space for intimacy to grow.
I love that. The power of silence in relationships.
It speaks volumes.
This has been such an incredible conversation.
It really has.
I feel like we've only just begun to explore this idea.
There's so much depth here.
It's not just about keeping secrets.
It's a way of life.
So as we wrap up our deep dive today,
Yeah.
what's one final thought you would leave our listeners with?
I would say this. Don't be afraid of the silence.
Okay,
Embrace it. Let it be your teacher.
that's beautiful.
It's in those quiet moments that we often find the greatest clarity
The greatest connection.
and the greatest peace.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the power of strategic silence.
It's been my pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit challenging.
Until next time, may your silences be filled with meaning.
And may your words be spoken with purpose.